Hey everyone, welcome to From the Gut, a podcast powered by Debbie's Dream Foundation. This is where we share bold conversations, raw stories, and powerful breakthroughs in the world of stomach cancer, told by the people living it and leading it. I'm your host, Monique, and today we're diving into a deeply personal, often overlooked part of cancer journey, and that is intimacy. One of our guests today, Jennifer Johnson, is a certified marriage coach whose husband underwent TG surgery due to the CDH1 mutation. Welcome, Jennifer. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm so excited to be here. My name is Jennifer, and my husband and I have been married 30 years, and we have 5 kids, ages 22 to 16, 4 boys and a girl. And my husband tested positive for the CDH1 gene mutation in, I believe, February of 2014, no, 15 actually, 2015, and elected to do a total gastrectomy in July of 2015. So felt a very quick decision on such a drastic surgery. And then he's been physically recovering, but then of course we realized the mental toll and the toll on our marriage and all of the things that nobody told us about. We've been walking through it and are on the other side of it, and just so grateful for the entire journey and what it's done for us.
All right, thank you. Welcome. And sounds like you all
Thanks for
have a
having me.
beautiful family. Wow, 5 kids. That's amazing.
Yeah, they're fun.
We also have Alyssa and Audric, a couple currently navigating gastric cancer diagnosis and sharing the real-time evolution of their bond. Welcome, Alyssa and Audric. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thank
Hello.
you.
Well, thank you.
Thank you for having us. So I'm Alyssa,
And I'm Audric.
and we've been married for 7 years. We have one son, he is 16 years old, and 2 dogs.
They count.
Yes.
They're expensive.
I
Awesome.
was diagnosed with stage 4 gastric cancer in May of 2023, and I had a total gastrectomy in January of 2024. I'm still undergoing treatment, and I recently lost my ability to eat and drink, so I have a feeding tube. So there's a lot of things that have impacted our lives and our intimacy, so it's been a journey.
Thank you for being here. We're grateful to you both for being here today and giving your perspectives on such a vulnerable and sometimes sensitive topic. If you're listening on Apple or Spotify, please leave us a review. And if you're watching on YouTube, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and drop a comment down below. Before we get things kicked off, I would like to ask each of you to please tell us how you got involved with the Debbie's Dream Foundation. Jen, you can go first.
Okay. When we were looking for a community of other survivors and other people that have walked this journey, we were connected with Debbie's Dream Foundation, and specifically to join them in their advocacy day in Washington, D.C. So my daughter and I jumped on the chance to be able to just really plead with our Montana representatives on just how important stomach cancer research was for us. And it was just a bonding moment, and it was an experience for her and I, obviously, to see the bigger picture, but especially her age, to see we're not alone. There's so many more people, because in Montana we don't know of anybody that are CDH1 gene or gastric cancer. So it's been a beautiful experience to be able to be connected with the community.
Thank you so much for sharing. Alyssa and Audric, what about you guys?
Pretty similar to Jen. We were looking for some support after diagnosis, and actually my surgical oncologist was the first person to mention to me Debbie's Dream Foundation. He asked if I had heard of them and told me that that was another great resource for support. So I followed them, and we learned about Patient Advocacy Day. Unfortunately, the first time that we had an opportunity to go was right after I had total gastrectomy. So I was recovering and not able to, but this past February, we were able to go, and join others that have had similar experiences and hear some amazing stories and be able to share our experience as well. So we are very grateful to Debbie's Dream Foundation.
Thank you both for sharing your experience and also your reasons for joining Debbie's Dream Foundation. We're definitely honored to be a part of your community and also just a part of your journey. And so we thank you for that. Now, Jennifer, let's kick off this whole episode with you. What made you decide to become a marriage coach?
Whew, that's a big answer. I'll try to keep it very short and sweet. And I know you guys told us ahead of time, let's keep it real. So I'm going to keep it real. We actually went into his CDH1 gene testing not in a great place in our marriage. We were already on very shaky ground, and we were not on the same page. I actually didn't want him to get tested. He had a history of depression, and I just didn't think that, regardless, obviously negative would have been great, but I knew in the back of my head a positive test would have really tested him and our already shaky relationship. So we started out not on the best foundation, solid foundation, going into this entire journey. And then, of course, it tested positive, and then we were not on the same page for the surgery. And you could just imagine, the rest of the story. So it took him about 3 years to physically recover, I would say, to really feel like, okay, this is a part of our normal life now. He still has things every now and then, but I saw the struggle in our marriage, and specifically in the intimacy area. I was shocked and my world was rocked when we were trying to repair our marriage, and yet this big piece of it was completely different now. And it was very scary. So we were trying to repair our marriage and then trying to figure out what trust or what intimacy looked like and what trust looked like. And all of this, we're 10 years post. I say post-op. That sounds funny because they talk about months, right? We're 10 years post-op. That's how intense this surgery is. So Alyssa, I'm just praying for you. It's such a huge surgery, and it's nothing to be taken lightly. The recovery is it's a lot. So I want to give you a virtual hug. But the intensity of those 10 years, where we're at today is just beautiful and amazing and a miracle. And we're experiencing intimacy like transcending what we ever experienced before. And so that's when I thought, other couples need to know, just because you feel stuck and just because you feel hopeless and just because it feels like there is no way we're going to recover from this. I had to be a voice for those couples. And I honestly thought we were an anomaly. And once I got into coaching and I realized, wow, if we can get rid of, it sounds a little like a dichotomy for me saying this, if we can get rid of Instagram and some of the messages that are out there right now, that are, do what feels good and divorce is great, all that stuff. It's no shame on any of, anybody that has to do that, but there are a big portion of marriages that can absolutely be saved after they've walked through hard times, whether that's betrayal or cancer or, all of the losing a child, all of those things that really, really tax your marriage. So I love what I do because it helps me continue to heal, and it helps me be a voice and hope for people that have no one, they have no message like that coming into their life. And I want everybody to experience what we have too. So.
All right. Yeah. Thank you so much. So basically the story of your husband recovering and you all going through some initial marriage issues help pretty much be the catalyst for you to pursue this current career and position. And I guess my next question to you is, how long have you been a marriage coach? Because I know you said it's been 10 years post-op. So how long have you been a marriage coach?
So what's interesting is I have been a coach for 12 years, really in the sales area.
Okay.
And I found a lot of my conversations were surrounded, people that couldn't quite get to their sales goals and things like that. Our conversations always went back to personal life, to what was going on in their marriage. And if your marriage is on, not on solid foundation and it's in shambles, you're going to have a really hard time succeeding in business. Mm-hmm. And so that kind of, I took all of those skills in sales. And then I'd say about 5 years ago is when I got my actual certification towards, actual coaching that's wasn't in sales and, having a sales team and things like that. So,
All right. Now, based on what you're most comfortable with sharing, can you share what intimacy looked before and then after your husband's diagnosis?
absolutely. I'm an open book, and I wish, it is that you said at the beginning, a little bit of a taboo issue and people don't talk about it. I think it's really important that we put stories to it. The more we share our stories, the more comfortable other people will feel. I was very attracted to my husband when we were dating because he was a baseball player. He had lots of muscles and he was fit, and, it was just something I really enjoyed. And that was a big part of our intimacy too. We're both very fit and active. I shouldn't say I'm not like I used to be, but we're very active. And after his surgery, oh goodness, it was, I'll never forget it. We purposely got out of the house and got a hotel room, and we just thought, okay, we've got to take some efforts. We got to take some steps towards this, as scary as it is. And he had removed his feeding tube, and we were just gently trying to move through things. And the first time that we were together, I could feel like his hip bones, and I could feel the muscles they weren't firm. It was more of a doughy, so hard to explain, just soft. And it really messed with me because I thought, I'm going to hurt him. And, that's in that whole intimacy area. For a woman, I loved having the strong man to hold me and to just feel safe with. And, it was a big part of arousal and all of that stuff. And now I have someone where I feel like he's very delicate, and, my solid rock is gone. And intimacy is very much, as much as I joke around about fit and muscles and things like that, intimacy is very much a mental and emotional thing. It totally transcends anything physical. So it was, oh goodness, we just had to walk through that so gently and patiently and tenderly with each other. And I couldn't not express, I turned over and just cried that night, all night, because I just thought everything that I've always known. And since we were on such shaky ground, that was the one thing I did have, was like, I do have this. And then that one thing I had was gone. So we had to build back up from the ground up. And that's, seeing that was seeing him in a totally different light. And that was a new concept for me of just, okay, how are we going to get through it? It's so much more than just physical and tissue and muscles and skin. There's a spiritual aspect to intimacy, and that's where we started to put our focus.
Thank you for sharing. And with that said, based on that journey, how would you say, did it really challenge the closeness that you all shared, especially before and then going through this journey where he had the surgery, and then, like you said, the muscles and everything that really attracted you to your husband was gone, and starting from the ground up? Would you say that the closeness was challenged, and maybe he felt you viewing him differently?
Yeah. And he felt differently. He viewed himself differently. He went in to the hospital healthy and elected to remove his stomach.
Gotcha.
And that's another total mind game that you have to work with.
Right.
And he came out broken, and he chose to do that. So there was a whole psychological thing that he was processing on his own too, of just like, was this the right decision? And what did I do? And so we literally had to start over, as far as what attracted us to each other, and where's our foundation, and what are the things that bring us together. And let's be real, the results of any kind of gastric cancer or total gastrectomy involves a lot of gas. That's not super attractive. So, I mean, we joke about it, but those are things that people don't talk about, of just like, okay, we've got to really dig deep to figure out what we're attracted to and how to build things outside. So that's a whole nother thing, but we started hiking tons and doing tons of stuff outdoors and really enjoying our friendship more than anything. as we kind of navigated those waters.
Yes, thank you for sharing that. In fact, in a previous episode, we interviewed a family of cousins, and they made sure to bring that up about the gas and the smell because they both had the same gene mutation and elected to have a gastrectomy. And so they talked about that too. So thank you so much for sharing that.
Yep.
If you find this valuable, please take a second to subscribe, share this with someone who needs it, and leave a review. So Alyssa and Audric, before I even ask you some questions, I just want to share with you that I did some investigation and I came across, actually the team gave me access to your TikTok profile, Alyssa. And so I went through that kind of journey of you literally, it's like anyone who's watching, taking us along for the ride or the journey of what you've gone through. In fact, I think you even posted yesterday how you just saw your oncologist, hadn't seen her for 2 months. And already that was like frustrating me. And I can only imagine how it felt for you. And then Audric, so as a result, because you tag your husband, Audric, I went down a rabbit hole with your TikTok profile. And I would say the love that you both share. In fact, some of the videos brought tears to my eyes. And I will be frank with you all. I don't have a direct affiliation with cancer or stomach cancer or anything like that, but it was really touching the content that you all shared. And then you all recently, earlier this year, renewed your vows. And I just want to say thank you both for sharing your story online. I know how vulnerable that can be, but even also with you, Alyssa, bringing us literally like over the shoulder, sitting right next to you as you're going through your journey. And then you, Audric, talking about what it's like to be the spouse of someone who you love is sick. And my condolences that your father passed as well, not because of cancer per se, but I just want to say, thank you both for sharing that. Now, with that said, how would you say your relationship has shifted once Alyssa received her diagnosis?
Ooh. Well, to be transparent, I feel like in the beginning, it didn't shift too much. I feel like it was hard individually. Like for me, I struggled. I found myself doing a lot of escapism with reading and gaming. And so that created like space, but as far as this being intimate and things of that nature, like nothing had changed. I think it was just crazy of the timing, but we're struggling now with that because, as she said, with her current troubles, we just have more on our plate. Like before, she was still, even though she was going through this, and it was hard and it was difficult, she was still more functional. She was still healthier. She was still able to be active. We also enjoy hiking and being outdoors. And doing all the things. She loves to window shop. So we would go to the stores and we would window shop. We'd go to stores all day and just window shop. And so now it looks different because we're kind of tied down a lot to the house. And yeah, so just things are different. I'll let you expand on that too.
Yeah, I feel like in the beginning, honestly, before our diagnosis, we were in a bad place. We were not close. We were struggling with outside things, finances, just things going on in our personal lives. And so we were struggling a little bit. And then having the diagnosis, I think that kind of brought us together because we were scared of what's going to happen. How long do we have? It kind of just reset us back into focusing on each other. But then once we started going through treatment, that's when it started feeling heavier. Like, okay, this is very serious. And I think that's when Audric started trying to escape. He did not want to face what reality was. And for me, that was a little tough just because I was like, I'm going through this and I'm still alive. I want you to spend time with me, but I also had to understand that he needed to escape. So finding that balance just made it a little difficult. But we still prioritized intimacy. I don't feel like it shifted too much. We just had to put more intent into it. And more recently, it has been harder just because of all the health issues. I don't feel well most of the time. It's very limited when I do feel well. And I feel like that has made Audric be more cautious. He doesn't want to approach me and me have to tell him I don't feel well. I don't know if it's not wanting that rejection or not wanting me to feel bad because I do have to reject because I don't feel well.
Yeah, I feel it's the latter. I know she feels guilty about a lot of things already, and so I don't want to put any more of that guilt on her plate. And Jen, just like you said, like we're both very physical people. I know for Alyssa, hers is like, more like there be times where, I mean, everyone knows like the whole you fight and you have makeup sex. She's not necessarily a makeup sex person. She's like, no, we got to be emotionally connected. I need to feel like we're, on the same, realm of everything. And, for most guys, that's not a problem. And so, yeah, so I think that it's just been a struggle because she's not feeling physically well. Um, and so for me, I'm like, I don't even want to, broach it because I'm like, I don't want her to have any more guilt. I don't want her to feel bad about anything else. There's enough to feel bad about. But I say all that about the physical to say that there are different types of intimacy. And so now we are trying to explore those things and see like what that looks like as well.
All right. Thank you so much for sharing. What would you say, or what role has communication played in the connection since entering this chapter?
Communication is huge, and it creates a huge impact to how we are as a couple. When our communication is not going smooth, it's very apparent, and that intimacy is not there because we're just struggling to get through the day and just be around each other because it's just like, okay, something's going on. But when our communication is great and we're, things are running smooth, then there's more of that rubbing the shoulder, touching the face, and it just walking through the house. There's those little moments of intimacy that makes it so much easier to segue into deeper intimacy.
All right. Well, you kind of answered this just now, but I'm just going to ask it anyway. So you mentioned how when you were first diagnosed, that brought you all closer, or close, right? You kind of had some initial issues going on in your marriage, like financial and outside factors. But the fact that Alyssa got diagnosed brought you all together. And then now you're experiencing some intimacy issues now, just based on, unfortunately, Alyssa not feeling well and things like that. But outside of that, have you found unexpected pockets of closeness despite the physical challenges?
I would say yes. We're big supporters of therapy. We love to go to therapy. And so it got to a point where we were like, yeah, we need to go back to therapy. And so we went back to couples counseling, and the therapist we found just really suggesting kind of things that we would have never thought about. And so she was like, start with, a connection ritual, set aside a minimum of 30 minutes and find what works for you. Like, don't do any phones. Like we have a son. She was like, don't let, your son come in the room, like trying to see what y'all like, no, go in the room, close, lock the door, go outside, whatever you need to do, whatever speaks to you guys. And so we tried a couple different things, and it's not the only thing that we want to do or like to do, but we started coloring.
Okay.
And it's not something I would have ever saw us doing to connect, but it's nice and we like it. We color and we listen to an audiobook. Sometimes we'll stop it and we'll, chit chat or whatever about something that happened during the day, or, we forgot to tell each other, and it's just, I don't know. We always end up doing at least an hour, but it's just an hour where we escape together.
Yeah.
And
we're prioritizing our marriage, saying we want this connection. This is something that's important to us.
Exactly. And so I feel like it hasn't fixed everything, obviously, but I feel like it does help. And it's something that I really do. And then to look back, we have all of our coloring pages like on the wall now, pinned in the room.
Yeah, so on my TikTok videos, if you see any videos in the background where there's a whole bunch of coloring pictures, that's from our couples connection.
Yeah.
Oh.
And so, yeah, anytime I walk in the room, I just love to see it. It's just, but yeah, long-winded answer to tell you that I never saw us connecting over coloring, and doing intimacy that way, but I feel like that's been the way that we do that.
No, thank you for sharing that. In fact, maybe after this, I'm going to share that with my husband. He's going to be like, where did this come from?
It sounds wild. You're like, at our big age, what are we doing coloring? But I promise you it's fun.
And I actually came up with the idea because Audric was having a rough day with grieving. And I was like, I know that our marriage is important and we are supposed to do this connection, but I don't want him to feel like this is a task. I want to give him space where we're connecting, but I'm not asking too much of him. And I was like, what if we color and just sit next to each other? And he said, yeah, we can try it and listen to an audiobook. And we love reading. So that's what we did. And we just fell in love with it.
I love it.
I love that.
I love that,
Yeah.
truly. As I just feel like it kind of brings out the inner child in us, and just visiting back to
Yes.
the days
Mm-hmm.
of coloring and inside the lines, outside the lines.
When things
and
were
rebel.
simpler.
Yeah. When things were
Yes.
much simpler,
For sure.
For sure,
Yeah.
for sure. But thank you so much for sharing.
Of course.
So Jennifer, why do you think intimacy is still so rarely addressed in patient care conversations?
Well, first, I have to tell Alyssa and Audric, like, I'm so proud of you guys. Like, I can't even tell you, you guys are going to be just fine. Um, I just want you to know how proud I am for you guys leaning into therapy, leaning into being creative and thinking outside the lines and making sure you guys consider each other and know just how intentional you are. It's beautiful. So I have to
Thank
say
you.
that.
Yeah, most
Thank you.
definitely. Yes.
Intimacy being taboo, I think there's a lot of shame surrounded around intimacy. I honestly think it starts with how we're raised in society and if we're raised in religious homes and things like that. There's a lot of shame, a lot of legalism around it. And we take it's a little bit of a mind game because sometimes people are raised in homes where it's like bad, don't do it before you get married. And then once you get married, you're just supposed to be freaky all the time. Like you're supposed to fulfill your husband's needs, after saying no the entire time you're dating. And it becomes just a very complex, confusing thing where your body is used to, you've been pushing arousal down for so long, and now all of a sudden you're supposed to flip the switch and it's supposed to be there. There's so many aspects to it, but I do think shame is a big part of the taboo of it. I don't think there's a lot of healthy marriages that are raising kids with, hey, we fight and we make love and we flirt and we fight again and we annoy the crap out of each other and we make love again. And like, we just don't see that example for children now. A lot of times people are on their phones, they're totally disconnected. They have shame around it, so they don't want the kids. They're like, oh, don't let the kids know what we're doing. I tell my clients, like, embarrass your kids. And I'm not saying like cross the boundary and do, but slap each other's butt in the kitchen, kiss. Like, this is not a shameful thing. This is a beautiful thing. And if you look at marriage, like, we are supposed to be empowering each other to go out and solve problems together. Like, it's us against the world. And I can't think of a more energetic and empowering, situation than to make love. So I do think shame probably is a big part of that. And if we can just embrace, like, this is a beautiful way that we're designed, and it's a beautiful source of energy and dopamine and serotonin and so many healing aspects of it. Instead of having a relationship where it's like, we don't fight. This is kind of not totally staying on topic, but if a couple comes to me and says they don't fight, I realize they probably aren't making love either, because both of them require intense passion and using your voice. And so if majority of people are not using their voice in the topic of intimacy, then how do we expect the professionals out there to bring that topic up? So we need more people that are authentic, like Alyssa and Audric, and just being able to say, hey, this is real life. My spouse annoys me. My spouse turns me on. I fight with my spouse. And, just this is real life. So if we can kind of get rid of the shame and own it for the beautiful complexity of it, I think that it would be more of a wider known topic. And the other aspect to it is sex in music and, the music industry and Instagram and TikTok, I think all of us can agree that that's not where we want our kids to learn what it's about. So, again, it's just I think it's complex. I would say shame is probably the biggest.
I love that answer. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, because now that I think about it, you're right. Growing up, at least for me and for a lot of people, they see how their parents interact. We didn't have the phones. We didn't have all these distractions. Now it's a matter of balancing that, knowing that that's there, and then, still flirting, or like you said, hitting them on the butt and all that other stuff. So it's definitely way more complex today.
Yeah, it is. And it's beautiful to have all of our kids, our 16-year-old is the youngest. Mm-hmm. And the two that still live here, or three that still live here, it's not uncommon for us to send a text and say, don't come home till 10. Okay. If you come home early, enter at your own risk. Like, I don't suggest it.
I love that.
And it's fun because they roll their eyes and go, oh, that's so gross, but we know they love it.
Yeah.
Because it offers just this beautiful, stable environment for them to kind of example for their own life in the future.
It actually brings up a quick Instagram reel I saw yesterday. Literally, this couple, middle age, skinny dipped into the
Yes, I saw that one. I actually saved that one.
And the kids came home early and they're recording, and the parents are saying, stay, like, don't come close, because the clothes were on the dock and they're in the water and they came home early. So yes.
They're like, ew, gross. And Dad's like, there's nothing gross about this.
Right.
What are you talking about?
Like, this is what happened before you guys got here. So yeah.
Yeah. For sure.
What would you say are the most common misconceptions about intimacy during illness?
I think we need to get rid of pressure to perform. We need to get rid of trying to go back to what it used to be. There's no going back. And honestly, even regardless of surgery and cancer, whenever we're rebuilding and healing a marriage, I tell everybody there's no going back. The goal is not to, and that's even individual healing. Our goal is never to be who we used to be. Our goal is to accept everything of who we are and then create something new. And so I think with intimacy post-surgery and post-illness, and I truly believe, you know what, let's drop any expectations and pressure to perform, and let's allow ourselves to create something new, to think outside the box. And as I've witnessed here with Alyssa and Audric, and what we've witnessed in our marriage, is the perceived obstacles can end up being your biggest blessing, because it literally forces you to transcend it and go much deeper than most couples will ever have an opportunity to go. So I definitely would say no pressure. Don't try to create what used to be, really, like the coloring and, things like that. Just really, things don't have to be expensive to connect. You just need to get rid of the phones and be intentional and be present, pray together, read together. Share your dreams, have a vision. Those are very intimate and personal. And I would say if intimacy is a big issue post illness and surgery and cancer, there might be something deeper in the foundation of the marriage that needs to be addressed.
Thank you.
Because you can't just jump into intimacy when maybe trust isn't there.
Right. Exactly. Now, a follow-up question to what you just answered: how do you support couples when intimacy needs to be redefined?
Oh, goodness. I think just knowing they're not alone, knowing they have somebody in their corner. I think it can be, like Alyssa said, the amount of doctor's appointments and, house maintenance, car maintenance, body maintenance. I mean, just maintaining life is overwhelming enough. And then you add, new obstacles to it. I always speak in terms of bandwidth. Like, you wake up and you have this much bandwidth, and all of those little decisions are burning up your bandwidth. And at the end of the day, creativity for intimacy is like, I got nothing. I have zero bandwidth. It's not that I don't love you. It's not that it's not a priority for me, but I literally have nothing left. So I think to support couples in intimacy is saying, look, that's normal. That's the first thing they need to hear is that's totally normal. Nothing's wrong. And it's not going to be like this forever. Like we walk through the valley of the shadow of death. We don't stop and sit and have a picnic. Like we are walking. And so it's not going to be like this forever. So I think a huge support. And of course, what we're doing here, when someone knows your story, they're going to feel so much less alone going, oh, we're not the only one. And then, of course, coloring. Oh my gosh, putting out new creative ideas where someone goes, I would have never thought of that.
Yes, most definitely. And I think also what helps is, especially with you, and I'm assuming with your, I'm going to call them patients, right? Or your clients, rather.
Yeah, my clients, yeah.
Because you've gone through it yourself, right? So you can really relate to what they're going through, right? So I think that's
for sure
very powerful, for sure.
Yeah, you would never go to a broke person to get financial advice.
Right, exactly.
And I would never go to a divorce, like someone that has an unhealthy relationship for marriage advice. So it does help a lot. If someone has proved, and I'm not saying, like if they've had a broken relationship in the past and then they've kind of figured out what works, and then now that, they have a healthy relationship, absolutely, that's awesome. But be very careful who you go to get your advice from, for sure.
Most definitely. One last question to you. What conversations do partners avoid but desperately need to have?
What I like, what I don't like. I like when you do this. I really don't like it when you do that. And that requires emotional maturity to not be defensive. And that would be where that trust comes into play. Because if I am going to tell my spouse, hey, I really like it when you feed the dog and take the dog for a walk so I don't have to worry about it. We kind of assumed there was a point in our marriage where I asked my husband what he needed from me. He's like, I just need you to acknowledge, like when I mow the lawn and fold the clothes. And honestly, in my brokenness at the time, I'm like, that's what adults have to do. Like, good job. I was very sour about it. And then I realized, gosh, it's not going to take much effort for me to acknowledge him. So I think it's, if you can remember that unmet needs drive everything, be curious about your partner. Be curious about why that's happening. Tell me the question again. I totally got off on it.
Problem.
I got off of it.
No, it's okay. Hold on. Let me scroll up and find it.
I want to make sure,
hold on.
Wait a minute, where am I going?
Oh yes. What conversations do partners avoid but desperately need to have?
Yeah. So it's if you think of your spouse as like unmet needs drive everything, be curious about your spouse. Their highest emotional need might be physical touch, or it might be feeling loved, or it might be feeling good enough. And so you have to, like with my husband, I know that he has to feel good enough, and that's his responsibility and my responsibility. It's not all mine. He has to take self-leadership. But then I can use my voice and say, hey, and when it comes to intimacy, hey, I really like it when you do that. Or could you do this a little bit softer? Or can we start here? Or I like it when you say this or don't say that. These are all us using our voice, which is so, so important. We assume our spouses are supposed to know how to love us. And it's really not the case. We have to communicate our core needs. So that would be the biggest thing, is just really, what do you like? How can I love you today? How can I be there for you today? And for both partners to really use their voice in a compassionate way, and not assume that our partner knows how to love us.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing. So Alyssa and Audric, like I said, based on what I've seen on you all's TikTok profiles, I literally can see the love, the strong love that you all have. And I would love to ask you, what's one word that defines your love today? Or a statement. It doesn't have to be one word, because I know one word is it could be hard, but go ahead.
Yeah, I would say resilience as well. We have a little
Mantra.
mantra slogan. It's no matter what, and we've been saying that since we were dating. And it's just that in a nutshell. Like no matter what, no, every day I'm going to choose you. Divorce has never been an option for us. Now, if I was abusive or she was abusive in that sort of capacity, like that's understandable.
Right.
But for us, divorce was never an option. It's not something that's on the table. We have to figure it out one way or another. So no matter what, it's me and you to the end.
We're gonna have to figure it out. And we've had
Love
so
it.
many different kinds of struggles
Mm-hmm.
from different areas, and we've just had to really dig deep and remember that we want this.
Yeah.
We want this with each other no matter what. And so we had to figure it out. So I feel like that's resilience.
Yeah, I mean, we've only been together 6 years, and in the grand scheme of
6 years.
not together, married. We've
We've been
been.
married 7 years. I'm like, what?
Wait.
We've been married 7 years.
I
We've
gotta
been
fix
together
that.
9. We've been together 9 years.
Time is an illusion, guys. Okay,
But
well,
it feels like 20.
No, it does. That's what I was getting
Yeah.
to. Like in the grand scheme of things, like that's a short period of time,
Yeah.
But we've experienced everything from job loss to
Mhm.
parent death. Like most people don't experience those things until like in their 50s.
Mhm.
We've been the brokest we could be. We've experienced things that a lot of people don't ever even experience in their marriage. Of course, we're facing terminal illness, and so it's like we've had it all thrown at us.
Yeah.
But we just are choosing to continue to push through. And some days that looks like baby steps, like just not even steps, like crawling.
Yeah.
But we just are still choosing to keep going. So, yeah,
I love that.
resilience.
Thank you. What do you wish people knew about being a couple during cancer treatment?
It is a roller coaster.
Yeah.
It is lots of ups and downs, twists and turns. Things are getting dropped on you that you didn't anticipate. Even when things are going great and you're like, oh, okay, nope, something can hit you and just rock your whole relationship. And figuring it out, it takes a lot of time, a lot of intention. What worked well for me one day, that might not work the next time.
Yeah.
And that's changing. And so communication is so important. Saying what we need from each other. There's times where I needed more support physically from him. Like, hey, I'm struggling, so I need more help. But then other times I'm like, I want to feel strong. I need you to let me do this and stop helping me so much.
Yeah.
So
Sure.
that communication is so important.
Yeah.
Thank you. And then how do you all support each other through fear or uncertainty when words aren't enough?
Lots of hugs.
Yeah, lots of hugs. I know we said when words aren't enough, but I try when I can tell she's struggling a lot to pray with her.
Okay.
I'm not religious at all. I'm working on my spiritualness, but I know that that's very important to her and big for her. I did grow up in like a semi-religious home where my father he would pray. He would pray over all of our Thanksgiving dinners. He'd pray through hard times. And so I know how to pray, and dare I say I'm a little good at it. And so when I can tell she's struggling, and like before we go in for big surgeries, I just pray over her. We pray together, and I feel that comforts her. Other than that, it's prayers and hugs.
Lots of hugs, because there's just times where we see each other and we can tell I'm just not in a good place. He's not in a good place, and we just hug and just stay there in that moment. And I think it just kind of lets each other know I'm here for you. I can't change the circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
There's no words just going to make it feel better, but we're in this together.
It's so good for your nervous system. A really long, I call it the melted hug.
Yes.
It's so good for your nervous system, and it increases serotonin. It's like hacking your system.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, have each of you ever struggled with guilt, and how did you address it together?
Oh yeah.
I have a lot of guilt.
Yeah. the oh, the thing about guilt is that a lot of times it's not rational, and with my father passing, that's something that I had to really face, and it helped me face other guilt. My father was an alcoholic, and we had to go no contact about a year and a half before he died. Um, and so I had guilt that I could have done something more, and like all these irrational thoughts, I could, go on and on. But it started to make me realize like these aren't rational thoughts. I'm being very irrational. And I feel that Alyssa sometimes has those irrational thoughts. She feels guilt that she's dying. She feels guilt that she's not strong enough to do things, or just all the things. And I have to tell her like, hey, like I don't tell her you're being irrational. You don't tell an irrational person they're being irrational. But
Smart man.
Yeah. But, I just tell her like, there's nothing to feel guilty for, and just kind of supporting that, telling her I hear her, I see her, and I understand. But it's just not true. It's just not reality, like life's.
And I know it's not. I'm like, I know that it's not rational. I know that I didn't ask for this. I know that I don't have control, but I can't help but feel this guilt. Like I'm putting my family and friends through this, even though it's not in my control. I see them hurting, and I know it's because they love me. So it just hurts me. And I'm like, okay, I know I shouldn't feel this way, but after so many times of giving them more and more and more bad news, I just feel exhausted. Like I don't want to give them any more bad news.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for sharing. Before we wrap up, we always end with our signature rapid fire segment, the gut check. It's 5 questions, no prep, no filter, just say what's in your gut. And in the case of Alyssa, you don't have one, but, of course, follow along, right? So with that said, you both can go at the same time, but whatever comes to mind. So the very first question, what's one thing you wish every stomach cancer patient or spouse knew?
Support changes, and it looks different every day.
Yeah.
And it sucks, and it's hard.
Yes.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yep. What about you, Jennifer?
I would say your worth is not in your physical body.
Love it. Next question. Describe your stomach cancer journey in 3 words. That's for you, Alyssa. And then for you, Jennifer, describe your stomach cancer journey as a spouse in 3 words.
Resiliency. What else? Resiliency.
Strength.
Honestly, can't put it into words, but one moment at a time. All right. It's one moment at a time, one foot in front of the other. Can't think too far ahead. Can't reflect on the past, the what ifs. Take every moment and just embrace life.
Thank you. Jennifer?
I was going to say tough as hell.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Love it. The moment you'll never forget.
During that stage 4, that really just changed everything. Diagnosis, I was shocked, but being told stage 4, we don't have a cure for you. We can only make you comfortable. It really just felt like everything had been ripped away in that moment.
Yeah. I think for me, it was right after or right before actually she had her stomach taken out, and we were hoping for the no evidence of disease. But I don't know what I was doing, and I just realized that even if she got it, there would still always be this cloud over us. We would still always be waiting for the day it came back, and we would still always be waiting for we could never go back to how it was. Just like Jen said, like our life was never going to look like how it did. We were fighting for so long to get back to normalcy, and I realized that's never going to happen.
Jennifer?
I don't even want to go For me, it was seeing my husband lay down his life as he knew it to grow old with us.
Thank you. A myth you want to bust about stomach cancer. So Alyssa, I'll ask you that first, and then Jennifer, I'll ask you a different kind of version. But Alyssa and Audric, a myth you want to bust about stomach cancer.
I'm going to start with something that is more broad in cancer in general, that it will show up on scans. This type of stomach cancer that I have does not show up on imaging. And that played a huge role in me being diagnosed and going through treatment and how we got to the point of where we are today. And people are just so shocked to hear, what do you mean it doesn't show up on imaging? I'm like, no imaging. It has not shown at all.
Yeah. Yep.
Mine's kind of a two-part. One, just because someone looks healthy doesn't mean they are healthy. At first, my wife looked very healthy, but she still had cancer. The second being, you can live without a stomach and you can still eat. We got that question a ton at first. Like, how is she going to live without a stomach? How is she going to eat?
Yep.
It's like, yeah, those things are still possible. Science is awesome.
Our bodies are amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, I think that's, oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Jennifer.
I was just going to say, I think that would be mine, is just that our bodies are so resilient, and you can live without a stomach. It's not a, the misinformation out there is unreal, especially when you put it out on social media. And, it doesn't define you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. All right. So this is for everyone except for you, Alyssa. I'll just say, not from the gut, but from the gut, I want people to know ... So Jennifer, from the gut, I want people to know
that what you're experiencing today and feeling today doesn't have to remain the same.
All right. Audric, from the gut, I want people to know
whatever you're feeling or going through is valid. Whether, I don't know, it sucks. It all sucks. And you're okay to feel that. And you don't have to be positive all the time. You don't. Yeah. This sucks, and you're literally suffering every day. You don't have to put on a smile to make other people feel better.
Yeah.
And then for you, Alyssa, from the gut, I want people to know
that life is so beautiful. It is flawed. It has its hardships, but it is so beautiful. And you just want to embrace everything, even going through treatment and the struggles that we're going through, struggling with our intimacy. That's all sacred. We're sharing this together in this lifetime, and just really being aware of how precious life is and making the best of every moment that you get.
You can see the pessimist and the optimist is in a relationship.
Opposites attract.
Opposites attract. Yeah.
Feel your feelings. I'm big on your feelings are valid, and that's important. But even with that, we can feel those feelings and embrace that. That is part of the life that we get to enjoy and share with each other.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. I love it. Well, thank you, Jennifer, Alyssa, and Audric, for sharing your heart, your wisdom, and your courage. And most importantly, your story. Your story isn't just powerful. It's a lifeline for someone who's either listening or watching right now. Now, if today's conversation helped you feel seen, informed, or empowered, please help us spread it. Subscribe to From the Gut wherever you listen to podcasts or watch on YouTube. Share this episode and head to debbiesdream.org for more resources, research, and ways to support the stomach cancer community. And as always, whether you're a patient, a loved one, or a fighter in the medical field, we see you, we're with you from the gut. Thank you so much to both you, Jennifer and Audric and Alyssa, for being with us.
Well, thank you for having us.
Thank you so much.